the government disclosure right now, and the fact that Lou and the government's company line right now, they have doubled down, they have tripled down. They cannot hammer the point any clearer that these are not our technologies, when in fact, it looks like they are. And we already know this. I think people who research this do believe that we reverse engineered these craft a long time ago from like the Roswell crash. But what if it was more than that? What if it was we already created these things beforehand? That it wasn't something we necessarily acquired. Or maybe, we did as well. I believe both things happened. But that this has been something that we created from scratch. It's not like we had to figure it out. Like Tesla cracked the code. And since then, we have been building these things in a very clandestine way, almost in this, what they would call the breakaway, society kind of model. And now they're everywhere. They're showing up so much more. The government, for the first time ever, is admitting that they're real, and they're doing, they have intelligence reports on it. They have, the UAP task force. They're devoting resources to this. It's all over the news. This is what everyone's been talking about for the past 7 months, and really in the UFO community the past 3.5 years, as those the Tic Tac, Gimbal, and Go Fast videos were released. But the interesting thing is, which is why I'm always harping on, pay attention to the narrative. We give you the backstory in here. We give you the past 100 years of UFO history in this country so that you can better understand the narrative that's being fed to you. Because if you don't understand the government's involvement with this stuff, if you don't understand what they do actually know, and how deep this actually goes, then you're going to be likely to fall victim to the narrative that they're trying to feed you, that they're just as surprised as you are that these things are here. And why did we have mechanisms in place for our soldiers and pilots to report these things? Like, you didn't have in place because of things like the Robertson panel, which you initiated so that people couldn't report these things, so that the subject was so stigmatized and filled with disinformation and counterintelligence that no respectable pilot, scientist, politician would ever touch it with a 10-foot pole for risk of career suicide or perhaps actual suicide, suiciding. And so it's important to know this, because you have to know what they're telling you and why they're telling it to you. It's a very crafted, particular narrative. And things like this add a little bit more credence, I guess. It seems to be backed up, I guess I should say, a little bit more by the fact that they really are doubling down on this idea that it's not our technology. They're willing to say that it is a foreign adversary before they're willing to say that it's ours. And that is absolutely crazy. That is so uncharacteristic of the United States government. And I think we all know that. Anybody who pays attention knows the chest pounding that takes place within our military and the military industrial complex to deny that these things, no matter what, are not ours, but could be a foreign adversary that has leapfrogged us technologically, like thousands of years, or that it's an extraterrestrial being, that those are the two main explanations they're giving. That is crazy. Like that, there's something really wrong with that. And that's why you must pay attention to these things. And why it would make even more sense that if there is, validity to the author, William Line, of the occult ether physics, that these were all invented, that they were invented in Germany, which we all know. They were the first people to be working on this. And perfected here in the United States and Russia and other places who obviously we were all trying to take their top researchers and people that they had. But this technology existed then. It was created. The code was cracked by Tesla. And since then, it's been being produced and perfected on massive scales, from even things like, not just little saucers or discs or chevron shapes, but actual gigantic motherships, like very, very big versions of these craft. And we had that gentleman, Tony, I don't know if he's here right now in today, but he's shared his story the past couple of nights of the mothership that he saw in South Africa, which is a freaking incredible story. But it's interesting, and I think it's worth more of a deep dive into this as being, and it's not, once again, far off from what Greer has been saying, is that they're ours, but he does say the same thing. It's a mix of us and them, which we all agree upon. But it seems that, I think, with the major increase in UFO sightings that's taking place right now, this major influx, that it seems like it would be us more than anything, because there's no such thing as an accident. The timing of this, like everything the government's been laying out, admitting this for the first time ever, dumping resources into this, creating task force, et cetera, that seems too much of a coincidence that things are really on the rise right now as far as UFO sightings. But that could also be the consciousness component that I mentioned earlier, of just more people being aware now, accepting this into their reality and their paradigm to be real, and therefore now they are able to see them, where before their subconscious just blocked them out because it was told that this was absolute tinfoil hat wearing nonsense and that we are the center of the universe and there's no intelligent life here. So that was it. I think it's worthy for more exploration. Oh, hey, you made it all the way to the end. Me too. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, share with all of your friends across every social media platform. And then if you have time, go to nateknighttalks.com and join the NNT community and research database if you have time and the resources and want to support what I'm doing here.